Hey G-Fans, GojiFan93 here, and welcome to another Q&A. This is Q&A number 5. Now, I actually posted on my Facebook page that I was going to be doing this, and a lot of people on Facebook asked me a lot of questions. So if you're not following me on Facebook, this would be a good time to do that because I post a lot of things on there that I don't talk about on my videos. So it's just a better way to communicate with me. I actually communicate a lot better on Facebook than I do on the YouTube comments. So if you want to really interact with me, go to my Facebook page. It's just a little bit better there. So, but I just decided for this video just to do another Q&A, and I asked my Facebook followers, any question that they wanted to ask, and I felt like it was time to do another Q&A because it's been a very long time since I've done one. So yeah, this is pretty much it. So we'll just begin answering the questions right here. So first off, let's see what we got. JS Steel, if Godzilla stood right in front of you, looking at you face to face, would you want to run or would you want to hitch a ride on him? I think if I was looking at him face to face, I think that I wouldn't be able to do that because I'd have to be like looking at him all the way up there, and then he'd be like, he probably wouldn't even notice I'm around, and then he'd just step on me. So, yeah. Alright, next question from Benjamin Breary. How would you feel about an R-rated Godzilla movie? I'd be fine with that. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what they would do if it was an R-rated movie, because I know that the 2014 movie was PG-13, so, yeah, it'd be interesting. I would go see it. Next question, what if you, this one's from Freddie Cook. What if you get to make your own series of Godzilla movies? I don't mean the trilogy you're working on. Alright, cool. Yeah, so I mean, obviously the movies that I'm working on right now, those are Plutonium's movies. I'm just helping him edit them, and I'm kind of like manager of them, like advertising and all that, making the posters and all. But if it was my own series, like from me, I mean, oh man, I get this question a lot actually, and I just don't know how to answer it yet because I have not had time to sit down and actually think about what I would do for a Godzilla, like for a fan-made Godzilla movie. Like I have no clue how I would make it and what the storyline would be, what the monsters would be, what the characters would be. I don't know. I'd have to really sit down and think about that. Alright, next question from Frank Torres. What is your favorite weapon used by any kaiju in the Godzilla franchise? Kiryu's Absolute Zero Cannon, or Burning Godzilla's Atomic Breath, or Gigan's Buzzsaw? Yeah, I would have to go with Kiryu's Absolute Zero Cannon because, up until then, that was a really cool ability that we've never really seen before from a monster. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't really think of any other monster that had, or any other kaiju or mecha that had, a very cool attack like that. So I would actually have to go with Kiryu's Absolute Zero Cannon. Alright, next question from Ryan Golden. If you could pick any monster to be redone in the Legendary series, who would it be and why? Now I know I got a lot of questions of this same kind of question, so I'll just answer it here. There's going to be a lot, I got a lot of questions about 2014 and 2016 or not 2014, but like the future Godzilla movies. So but if I could pick any monster to be redone, I know a lot of you guys would think I would say Space Godzilla because he's my favorite monster, but I don't feel like that would fit in the Legendary series, and I believe that this is what this question is asking for the Legendary series. I would love to see Anguirus be redone because I feel like Anguirus just hasn't gotten a lot of love, and I would love to see him again in a future Godzilla movie, especially the Legendary series, because I feel like with Anguirus it could work. Next question from Ben Soto. What do you think is the most underrated Godzilla movie? Now this one's really hard. At first, the first thing that comes into my mind when I think of the most underrated Godzilla film was Godzilla vs. Biollante, but recently, in like the last 2 years or so, that movie's actually been getting a lot of steam. It's actually been really popular lately, and it's not really underrated anymore. So I don't know, I mean, like, to think of the most underrated Godzilla film, I mean, I kind of also want to say Godzilla 1984, just because, you know, there's no DVDs that were released in America. It's hard to watch it. To find like a really good crystal clear version, you'd have to buy the Toho Blu-ray version, which is like $60, and that doesn't even have any English dub, so it'd be really hard to get into watching that one. Although I would totally watch it because I know the story of that movie like crazy. So but I mean, the most underrated Godzilla film, that's really difficult to figure out, because I feel like, I mean, I don't know, it's really interesting. So I mean, just me, I would say Biollante or 1984. I mean, most of the Heisei movies aren't really underrated except for those two, I would say. I don't think there's really any underrated movie in the Millennium series. I mean, yeah, I can't really think of anything with that. Show-wise, maybe Terror of Mechagodzilla, or Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, the first one. But other than that, I can't really think of any others, so. Alright, next question from Ian Baldwin. What franchise do you think would work the best as a crossover with the Godzilla universe / fandom? I mean, Pacific Rim. I think that would be the best crossover. I mean, technically, the Jaegers are a bit smaller than Godzilla, but I mean, Muto was the male Muto was half the size of Godzilla, so I feel it could work. So yeah, Pacific Rim I would think would be a really cool crossover. Alright, next question from Scarlett Meyer Goji Savage. Which Toho monster do you think or hope will appear in the next Legendary film? Also, what was your very first Godzilla toy? Alright, so the monster that I hope will appear in the next Legendary film. Well, we know what's going to appear in the next Legendary film. It's either Mothra, Rodan, or King Ghidorah. So I think there's a lot of questions that, you know, also in this Q&A that asked, like, you know, what monsters would I want to see in Legendary, and that, once again, that'd be Anguirus. So my very first Godzilla toy, I mean, that's really hard. I can't think of what would be my first Godzilla toy. I don't remember. I mean, because I was collecting the figures since I was so young, like probably 3 or 4 years old. But a figure that really pops out in my mind is one of my first Godzilla figures was the Treadmasters. I would say like probably 10-inch figures. I'll probably post a picture somewhere so you guys can see what it is. But that was I would say probably one of my first figures that I got. Alright, next question from Vala Nightfall. How do you feel about the upcoming Toho Godzilla movie? Okay, so I'm going to get a lot of questions about this one as well, so I'm just going to say it here. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm super excited for Toho to come back and make a new Godzilla movie. This is what I've been waiting for. This is why I'm not, you know, I mean, I'm happy what the 2014 film did, because that film, even though to me it wasn't the best Godzilla film, it did what it needed to do by making Toho make another Godzilla film, and that's what I'm mostly excited about. I'm really excited for Toho to come back and make another Godzilla film. That's what I've been waiting for a super long time. So super stoked about it, and I really hope they do Suitimation. Really hope they do. Okay, next from Skylar Eberhard. If you had to choose between having Godzilla, Gigan, or Kiryu as a pet, who would you pick? Well, I would not want Gigan as a pet because he would rip me to shreds. The mix up between Godzilla and Kiryu, I would say, but I don't know. I mean, Kiryu would be kind of cool, but he'd be a robot. It'd be kind of like, I don't know, not as real, but I don't know. I wanted Baragon or Anguirus as a pet. Now, Anguirus might be a little bit of a hazard as well because he's all spiky everywhere, but I think Baragon, the GMK Baragon, would be pretty cool to have as a pet. Alright, next question from Scene Makin. I hope that's how I spelled your name right. Which monster would you love to see have a comeback in any future Godzilla movie? I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, once again, Anguirus, but, you know, then I would say, like, Space Godzilla, Gigan, of course, Mechagodzilla. Love to see Mechagodzilla 4, whoever, you know, whenever that's going to happen. Definitely those monsters I would like to see. Alright, next question from Bryant Martinez. Who are you most excited to see return for Godzilla 2? Rodan, Mothra, or Ghidorah? Definitely King Ghidorah. I mean, Mothra's overdone. I'm sorry, Mothra fans, but you know, I'm not excited that Mothra's in it because she's in every Godzilla movie pretty much. And Rodan, you know, Rodan's cool, but you know, he's not one of my favorite kaiju. So really, out of the bunch, King Ghidorah is the only really interesting monster that I'm excited to see, and also just to see how they're gonna make him work in the film. Like, I mean, just all the animation that's going to require for him, and just how he's going to move around. It's going to be really cool to see how he is. So yeah, King Ghidorah, definitely. Alright, next from Kai Vu, I think. Do you think that the legendary 2014 Godzilla is a build-up movie that led more to Godzilla 2 and 3? Now they bring 3 classic favorable Toho kaiju. What do you think how they... Whoa. I think we got some grammatical errors here. What do you think, or how do you think they're going to fix the storyline, or how they're going to fit the storyline with Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah origin together? Okay, so that was a loaded question. You know, obviously they had the sequels in mind when they did the movie. That's why the movie ended it was an open-ended movie, because, you know, so that they could do a sequel. It didn't end and it didn't tie up all the knots. It had an open-ended ending. Yeah, it definitely obviously is going to lead up to 2 and 3, because, you know, every movie that has a first one always wants to try and lead it up to their sequels. And I don't know how they're going to attach all their origins together. I really have no clue what the origins are going to be, or how they're going to put it together. It's like, I mean, it's way too early to even be thinking about how they're going to get that stuff going, because we still got like 4 years to go. So I don't know, we'll just have to see. Alright, next question from Charlie Fisher. What are your expectations for Godzilla 2016? Okay, this is kind of different. I mean, like I said, I was excited, but my expectations are, I'm just expecting you know, obviously a production value raise. Obviously it needs to look better than Final Wars, which was their last Godzilla film. And I just want it to go back to the roots again. You know, let's just bring Godzilla back to the, you know, not super dark, because we have the Legendary series doing that for us now, so they can kind of still keep that's why I'm saying have it as a suit. But I mean, my expectations is just, you know, keep it Godzilla, Toho. You know, don't forget who you guys are. You know, basically that's what it is. So just keep it Godzilla. Alright, next question from Sean Kelly. Does Godzilla 2014 make it anywhere on your top 10 favorite Godzilla movies? Well, if you saw my top 30 Godzilla films list, I believe 2014 was in my top 10 list, but it's kind of high because there's just way more Godzilla movies that I like more than 2014. Even though 2014 is a good movie, but there's just way more Godzilla films that I like more than that one. But it is in my top 10, so. Alright, next from Jarrett Avery. Will there be any more Toho Sony Godzilla Blu-rays? I don't know. I mean, how am I supposed to know that? I mean, ask Sony. Not me, I don't know. Next question from Jamie Lewis Glionga. If you were to create your own kaiju, what would be his name? Oh, see, this is another one of those questions that I don't know. I mean, there's so many things that I need to think of. I mean, when it comes to names with kaiju, I don't want it to be something generic, you know, so I would have to really sit down and think about something. I can't really think of something at the top of my head. When it comes to that, like, that's one of the biggest things. Like, when it comes to my own creations with kaiju and stuff like that, I have no clue right now, and because I don't really have any plans on making any, like, of my own series or anything like that, so I haven't really been thinking about it, because I've just been thinking about other stuff. So yeah, once again, I can't really answer something like that. I would really need to sit down and think about it, so. Next from Davis Brian Beers. What is your all-time favorite Godzilla moment? Okay, so, you know, hands down, it would have to be the Godzilla Kiss of Death from 2014. I mean, when that came out, I literally shit my pants in theaters. Like, when that scene came on, I was just like, oh my god, that was the best fatality scene, whatever, from any Godzilla movie. I mean, it was, oh man. But before 2014 came out, my favorite Godzilla moment, I don't know. I mean, it's there's so many good moments of Godzilla. I mean, you know, there's a lot. I mean, I would say probably Godzilla's first appearance in 1984, where the cop runs out, or like the security guard, he runs out of the building, he looks up and he sees he sees Godzilla there, and the camera, you know, kind of goes up, and you see Godzilla, he's like, "Rah!" It's, oh my god, it's really cool. But definitely my favorite moment though is definitely the Kiss of Death. Alright, Clay Richardson. What was your first kaiju model? So by model, I assume you say like a kit, like a model kit, where you build it and you paint it. If that's what because that's what you say right there, model. So that would probably be the Aurora kit, the Aurora set, and I'll probably put a picture once again to let you guys know what it is. That was my first ever Godzilla model kit. All right, John Howe, what video are you most proud of? What video would you delete? Is you have to delete one. Okay, so once again we got some grammatical errors there. But what video are you most proud of? The video I'm most proud of actually is the Gabbers Bad Day. That video I put the most work into. That video just kind of came to me and I'm like, this might be a funny idea, and a lot of you guys love it. And yes, I'm still trying to figure out what to do for Gabbers Bad Day 4. That's going to be coming out. But yeah, that would probably be the video that I'm most proud of. And I think the second question is, what video would you delete if you have to? I mean, if I had to delete a video, I don't know, I'd probably delete a video that really just no one watched. I mean, there's plenty of videos that I have that are like still under 300 views. So, I mean, if it's something like that, I'd probably take it down. I don't know. All right, next question, Corey Grantham. Do you think one of the new Toho movies could maybe be Godzilla vs. Ghost Godzilla? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, they technically did that with Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 3, so, I mean, I don't really know. I don't think that would come up, and I don't know, I want it to be something different. I don't want it to be a unreleased movie or something, or like a movie that was never made or whatever, so, yeah, I don't think it'll be that, though. Next question from Michael James Jean. Which unreleased Godzilla movie would you like to see be made? That'd be Godzilla vs. the Wolfman, because we already have footage of it, and it's probably the most finest looking unreleased Godzilla movie, and we actually get to see visuals of it, and yeah, I would love to see that movie get a full release. Okay, next question from Matthew Krebs. What other games do you play besides Godzilla-themed games? Okay, well, if you guys follow me on my Gamer Fan channel, you'll see that I play, God of War, Metroid, Sonic, Mario, Zelda, Halo, I mean, all kinds of games. I play, mostly I stick to games that, I like sci-fi games, Mass Effect, Star Wars, things like that, Halo, once again, but my all-time favorite games are like, God of War, Metroid, and Halo. Those are like my three all-time favorite franchises. So yeah, I play all kinds of games other than monster-related games. I'm actually a big gamer. I am a big gamer. A lot of you guys don't know that, but I am a huge gamer, so. Alright, next question from Tom Bowman. What direction do you hope the new 2016 film will go? Solo versus dark or lighthearted? Okay, well, this one's pretty easy for me, because if you guys know my taste in Godzilla, I hope that it's a solo film, because I feel like a lot of Godzilla, well, the only two Godzilla films that were solo was the first one in 1984, and those are those are amazing Godzilla films. So I want this one to be solo. If they do it that way, I'll be really happy, because then they'll focus on Godzilla and only Godzilla. And I do want it to be dark, because that's what Godzilla is. Godzilla is a dark-themed character. So, yeah. Alright, next from Bruno Andre Oliveria. What is more scary to you, Godzilla, a giant tsunami, or a super volcano eruption? Well, I would say what's more scary is a super volcano eruption, because that's actually real. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like if I saw Godzilla in the distance, I'd be like, well, that's pretty cool, but if I saw a volcano explode in the distance, I'd be like, well, we're dead. So, yeah. Next question from Wyatt Fulton. Do you think the new Godzilla game will eventually come to the Xbox One and 360? No, I don't think it will come out, because Bandai Namco has stated that there is no... I mean, they know that there's an audience for it on the Xbox, but I've been through this before. I've said this many times. There is no market for Xbox in Japan. Bandai Namco has no interest in putting it on the Xbox, because the Xbox is an American brand console. Sony and PlayStation is more of their home console. Just because it's coming out in America does not mean it's going to be put on the Xbox. It's, that's just how they are. They just, it's PlayStation. That's what it is to them. And Xbox, I don't think it'll come out on there because they just said that they just want to keep it on their home console and that's it. So, yep. So go out and get yourselves a PS3 or PS4 to go play the game. That's all I can say. Okay. Next question from Maximus Smith. What is your other favorite kanji than Gojira? I think you meant kaiju than Gojira. My other favorite kaiju? Oh, I mean, I guess I would be pretty generic in saying the Gamera from the Heisei series. But other kaiju, then I'm gonna say, because I think you're asking like another monster that's not in the Godzilla series, something else. So probably like King Kong or any monster from Pacific Rim. Those are kaiju that I really like. Next question from Kyle McGriff. Which is better for doing a Godzilla fan movie, MMD or stop motion? I don't know. It depends on who's behind the project. I mean, if you do I've seen amazing stop motion films. I've seen not so amazing stop motion films. I've seen amazing MMD animations. I've seen not so good MMD animations. It just depends on who's behind the project. It depends on the artist himself. So both are good. It just depends on how well you do it. Next question from Kishin KTC Cheatham. What would be your thoughts if they made a Godzilla movie where he fights his father? Godzilla Millennium versus Godzilla 1954 Reborn. My God, that's a really loaded question. Well, no, they did that. That's called Godzilla versus Kiryu. That's what that movie is, right there. Godzilla Millennium versus Godzilla 1954. That's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 3, so go watch my review on that film and you'll see what I say, okay. Colton Driver, what is your first memory of watching a Godzilla movie? First memory watching a Godzilla movie, I would have to say Godzilla 1984, obviously. I remember watching it on a big screen at my parents' house when I was super little. It was like a really big screen, so Godzilla's head was like huge on the screen. I was like, whoa. And yeah, I just remember it being the scene where he comes out of the water from the bay of Tokyo and just blows up the whole harbor. And, like, everything blows up and people are on fire and shit. And Godzilla's just like, ha 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 ha. And it's just really cool. So, yeah. Next question from Toy Aha Chowd Hurry. My goodness, these names, people. What was your first experience to Godzilla? Well, once again, my first experience was my dad showing me the Godzilla movies when I was 2 years old. I mean, I don't remember much because obviously I was 2 years old. It's really hard to remember all the way back then. But yeah, definitely my dad was the reason I got into Godzilla. He showed me it and that's it. So, alright, next question from Clayton Collylug. Which movie director or producer do you think had a big influence on you? Okay, well, holy crap. Oh man, the first thing that comes to mind, and I know a lot of you guys are probably going to hate me for saying this, but I would have to say George Lucas, and I say that because of the original trilogy. I talk about when George Lucas was young and he knew what it took to make a good film. I'm not talking about modern day George Lucas where all he's looking for is just the money and stuff like that. I'm talking about George Lucas, the real George Lucas that was an artist. You know, he knew what he was doing and all that stuff. So he was a big influence on me when it came to filmmaking and, like, you know, what it would take, like what it takes to make a good film with, you know, good characters, good story and all that. I mean, George Lucas was a big inspiration for that. The older George Lucas. I can't really think of, any other director. And also I would probably say James Cameron for doing Aliens. You know, yeah, those are like some directors or producers that I kind of look up to. And I kind of look up to Gareth Edwards now because he has a very artistic style, especially with Monsters and then Godzilla 2014. So yeah, definitely those directors. All right, next question from Cameron Lee. What would you do if you just heard news that Godzilla, Ultraman, and Gamera would all be appearing in one movie? My God, I mean that'd be a huge announcement. I mean that would be like a big deal. Yeah, I'd be excited. I'd be like, holy shit, this is gonna be the best thing ever. Yeah, definitely, I'd be excited. Okay, next question. Peter Chiaro. Godzilla an enemy or hero slash ally in future Godzilla movies? You know, to me, like I said, to me, what Godzilla is an anti-hero or enemy. You know, I mean, it's nice to see Godzilla as a hero sometimes, but to me, what Godzilla really is a force to be reckoned with, and either an enemy or like an anti-hero where he takes out another monster and ends up saving people instead of killing them. But definitely anti-hero, enemy. Jesse Birch. Hope I spelled that or pronounced that right. Hypothetically, do you think you have the skills to stay safe during an actual kaiju attack? Some people think about how they'd survive the zombie apocalypse, but maybe it'd be cool to think about giant monsters too. That's actually a really cool question. I like this question a lot. It's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, do I think I have the skills that what it takes to survive a kaiju attack? I don't know, because I mean, take shelter and just stay underground until the monster's gone, or stop being the idiots that keep on running directly in front of the monster like in a straight line. Because if the monster's walking this way, like he has a path, right? The monster's not just kind of random, he's going in a path, right? Especially when it comes to like Godzilla, he does this a lot. He just goes in a path. Why do people keep on running in the same direction he's going? How about you do this? You run and then you turn and then you go behind him and then you just watch him destroy the rest of the city. Or if you watch Cloverfield, Cloverfield has a really cool, like, oh, what it's like to be under attack by a kaiju. So, I don't know, I think I have what it takes, but if I don't, then I'm dead. Then that's it, so, yeah. Alright, Greg Dye, do you think they should make the 2016 suit resemble Heisei or something new? I think it should be something new. I mean, with the Millennium series, we got something completely new. You know, it was more aggressive looking, it was more exaggerated, but it was really cool. So I would love to see something new. It's a new series, so make it something new, you know? I mean, obviously have the resemblance of Godzilla, like of what Godzilla is, but, you know, make it a new identity, so. Next from Jared Hudges. Could you make your own Godzilla stop-motion movie featuring your favorite figures you own? Yeah, this is another question I get a lot, if I'm going to be doing stop-motion or not. My answer to that is I'm not sure at this moment, because I don't have the patience for stop-motion. I love stop-motion, I respect stop-motion, I respect animators who can do stop-motion, because it's a very, very, like, what I'm saying, laborious job in a way. It requires so much patience and so much craftsmanship. You know, you got to be perfect. You got to, you know, animate every little thing. And if you move his arm and his leg at the same time, you got to move at the same time. It's like really, really difficult. So for me, I don't have the patience for that, and I just don't have any ideas for it. So right now, I don't have any plans on doing stop motion. But hey, never say never, right? Next question from Giovanni Mongu. I think that's how you pronounce that in French, I believe. What Godzilla figure would you want to get? Okay, this one's pretty easy for me. I've actually been thinking about this. I want the 25 centimeter Godzilla 1984 X Plus figure. If you guys go on eBay and you look at that figure, like if it's even on eBay now, because it's a really rare, hard to find figure, it goes for like around $300. It's ridiculous. But I really want that figure. Like, that's one of my holy grail figures. Another figure that I wanted to get is the Memorial Box 1984 figure. That's another figure that I really want to get. So, yeah. Alright, next from Ismail Alcala. Would you get the Bandai RC-74 Mechagodzilla or the 2004 Bandai RC Godzilla? Now, I think I've seen the Bandai RC-74 Mechagodzilla, but I don't think I've seen the Final Wars one. I don't think I've seen that one before. Would I get it? Probably not. It's not really, I mean, I've kind of, you know, if you guys watched my channel for a while, I kind of went on a collecting spree back last year, but I've kind of sold a couple things. I've kind of downgraded my collection a little bit to more things that I actually really love to collect, that I actually really love to see on my shelf, more rather than just buying something that says Godzilla on it. I've kind of narrowed my searches down. So something like that I probably wouldn't get, because it's something that's not really in my, I don't really want it, so probably not. Alright, next question from Bobby Bareilles. If Godzilla 2016 is going to be a versus movie, do you think there will be a new monster or an old one that Godzilla will fight? I don't know. I mean, it depends on what, I feel like if it's a new series and they're going to have a new monster, or like it's going to be a new, well, like I said, a new series, it should be a new monster. Because with the Heisei series, we got Biollante as a new monster, and the Millennium series, we got Orga as the new monster for that entry into that series. So I feel like with this, they should keep up the tradition and have a new monster, because it's always good to have new monsters fight Godzilla, because, I mean, the Muto are really cool new monsters, so yeah, I think Toho should continue having it as a new, have a new monster, and then if they do a sequel, then bring in old characters back, so. Alright, next from Brandon T-Rex Sikilua, I have no idea how to pronounce that last part. What got you into Godzilla? I kind of already answered this. It was my dad showing me Godzilla when I was like 2 years old. Definitely my dad. I mean, he got me into all the old monster movies. I mean, not just Godzilla, like King Kong, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I mean, all those old Universal movies. I mean, it's just like, he got me into all that stuff. But Godzilla was the one that really stuck out to me, obviously. And yeah, so definitely my dad. Trevor Isabel, if you wanted to make short films, would you, and why or why not? So short films. Now, I'm not sure if this is like short films of Godzilla or if it's just short films in general. I would love to make short films. I've always wanted to be a director of movies. I've always wanted to be in a project making a movie, which is why I'm helping Plutonium do the Return of Space Godzilla, because it gives me that opportunity to actually be a part of a movie to help make a movie. So, but yeah, I would love to make short films, whether it's Godzilla or something completely different. So, yeah. Alright, so second to last question. This question is from Yut Hapol Lim. I think that's how you pronounce it. Do you watch Attack on Titan? If so, who is your favorite character? Yes, I do watch Attack on Titan. I love Attack on Titan. I saw it a while ago on Netflix. Saw the whole first season. Fell in love with it. I definitely want to see the next season, but we're not going to get that for a while because they're not even. I heard that they're not even done with the second manga book of it, so they're not even, because the series is following what the manga did, so they're waiting till that's done so that they can do the series. And because it's in Japan, they'll get it first, and we'll get it a year later. So I don't think we won't even get it for like 2 years. But anyways, I love Attack on Titan. And my favorite characters are, let's see, I have a list here of the characters. So I only have, there's only like 2 characters that I really like the most. Obviously, the first one is Eren Yeager, which is the main character. I really like his character, the struggles he went through, the character development with him, his motivation. He's such a good main character. He's the character that you actually care for, and you want him to succeed in whatever trials he has to go through. The second character that I like is, I would say, his love interest in a way, I think. Or are they brother and sister? I don't remember. No, they're not, but they're kind of like brother and sister. But the girl that I like was Mikasa. Let's see, I'm going to have the name here. Mikasa Ackerman, that's her last name. Yeah, Mikasa, she's just a badass. Pure badass, and just, and she's hot. But, and she's, I know she's an animated girl, but I don't care. She's hot, okay? Most anime girls are hot anyway, so, but whatever. But just because she's a badass and she knows what she's doing and she's not a damsel in distress, that's what makes her really hot. So, yeah, but those are definitely my favorite characters on Attack on Titan. Alright, last question of the Q&A number 5 goes to Michael James Green. What do you think of Monarch? And do you think we will learn more about them in Godzilla 2018? I love the lore of what they're going with 2014, or the new Legendary series. Monarch, I think, is a really, really cool thing that we've never really had in a Godzilla film. Like an organization that, like all secret, and they have all these, like, plans and the Mutos and Godzilla, we have all these data files on them and stuff, and we're not really going to release it to the public. I think it's a really fascinating idea, and I would love to learn more about Monarch. And I do think that, in the second film, we will learn a little bit more about them. I think they'll go, and I want them to. I really hope Gareth Edwards delves a little bit more into this corporation and who they are. So, So yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for all the questions. It was really fun answering them. I love doing this kind of stuff. It's a good way to have me communicate to you guys. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. And oh, also I will be getting to the next 2 videos that are probably the biggest, the things that you guys are waiting for, which are the top 5 things that Godzilla 2014 did wrong, and the next kaiju discussion video, which is talking about Gamera, the Millennium series. Even though it's one film, I know, but I'm still going to talk about it. So those films, or those videos should be up later this week. I'm hoping to get them out later this week. I know I posted a Facebook post saying that those videos would come out this week, but this is kind of why I should not do that, because sometimes I might not be able to make it. But I'll really try to get those videos out to you guys this week. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay big, G-fans. Alright, last question of the Q&A number 5 goes to Michael James Green. What do you think of Monarch, and do you think we will learn more about them in Godzilla 2018? I love the lore of what they're going with 2014 or the new Legendary series. Monarch, I think, is a really, really cool thing that we've never really had in a Godzilla film, like an organization that, you know, like all secret, and they have all these, you know, like, oh, plans and oh, the Mutos and Godzilla, we have all these data files on them and stuff, and we're not really going to release it to the public. I think it's a really fascinating idea, and I would love to learn more about Monarch. And I do think that, you know, in the second film we will learn a little bit more about them. I think they'll go, and I want them to. I really hope Gareth Edwards delves a little bit more into this corporation and who they are. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for all the questions. It was really fun answering them. I love doing this kind of stuff. It's a good way to have me communicate to you guys. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. And oh, also I will be getting to the next 2 videos that are probably the biggest, the things that you guys are waiting for, which are the top 5 things that Godzilla 2014 did wrong, and the next Kaiju discussion video, which is talking about Gamera, the Millennium series. Even though it's one film, I know, but I'm still going to talk about it. So those films, or those videos should be up later this week. I'm hoping to get them out later this week. I know I posted a Facebook post saying that those videos would come out this week, but this is kind of why I should not do that, because sometimes I might not be able to make it. But I'll really try to get those videos out to you guys this week. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay big, G fans.